All right, friends, this is the body of the book, and it's called The First 9 Questions. You will notice immediately that TJ and I are not going to be doing a traditional audiobook. We are going to be reading our book and commenting about our book. It's that good.
Yeah. We're gonna do a live commentary, like this is Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I love me some annotated books, and this just gives us. So here's the thing about Enneagram audiobooks, TJ.
Yeah.
There's not one that's good.
Sure.
I can't think
Is there
of
one?
There might be one.
Sure.
Stabile's Journey to Wholeness is actually pretty good, but I don't think I've actually finished another Enneagram audiobook. And friends, I may have already experimented with reading this book, and it's dry.
Yep, that's a thing.
So we're not going to make that mistake. We're going to create something with some life.
Love it.
So
Like a Jim Dale reading.
this is either going to work or you wasted $15 on your Audible.
I don't know about wasted.
It's fine. You can actually return these if you're not in the mood for us bantering over our book.
Supports a good cause, though.
It does. Us buying more whiskey. So this book starts with a story, which you may have heard. I know TJ's heard it because we've used it once or twice before, and I suppose
once or twice.
TJ has also edited this book, so no, this is going to be new. So the story is told of a young man who fell down a manhole, and looking all around in the darkness, he saw there was no way to climb out, so he began yelling for help. And some passing by dropped food down the hole, and some offered him encouragements, but the young man remained stuck deep in the sewer. And then an old man, hearing the cries, came to the edge, saw the desperation, and decided to jump into the manhole as well. And he fell into the darkness, and he landed beside the young man, who looked at him with disgust. "You're a fool," the young man said. "Now we're both down here." "True," said the old man, wiping his face off. "But I've been down here before, and I know a way out." Here's the thing. Sometimes all we need is a guide, a new chart, some bit of wisdom that says, this is where you are, and this is how you move forward. And when we discover our Enneagram type, it can feel like we're joined in the muck by a company of highly informed fellow travelers. As we often say, the Enneagram's a map of the human personality because the Enneagram can show us where we are on life's map, what surrounds us, where the obstacles lie, and how we move from here to there. The Enneagram can do this because it answers the most core kinds of questions we have about ourselves and how we engage the world. And in finding our type, we become privy to countless thousands of testimonies gifted from those who share our motive, who share our perspective, and we can wash in their insights because they have been here before. They have known our same frustrations and shames, and some have found a way out.
If you're like me, you're only thinking about Ninja Turtles through this whole first thing. But I promise you, this is not about sewers and mutant turtles.
Who actually wants to get out of that sewer? That sewer looked pretty badass.
Seriously. That'd be foolish.
They had arcades and pizza.
Yeah. And who doesn't want more pizza?
Get to practice karate.
Yep.
Got a rat ninja leader. This is the best thing ever.
It's true.
For all the rest of you, the sewer is not where you want to stay. So let's talk about our center. The next title heading is our center. This is going to cover the next 3 chapters, or the first 3 chapters. Think of a favorite movie or a work of fiction that you return to often. Who is the character you relate to most? Where do they need to go? What do they need to do? What is the thing that is always on their mind? Then pivot for a second. What adversaries are they facing? What is the struggle before them? What obstacles do they encounter? Even in the stories of mundane work, we see characters we identify with longing for love or escape or some kind of recognition. Even when the setting seems everyday normal. It's a paper company in Scranton. It's the Quick Stop convenience store. It's McDowell's fast food. It is a general hospital. The heart of those we want to watch are alive with something, and yet they're probably struggling. For every great story is about a character who wants something and overcomes an obstacle to get it. And that's a Donald Miller quote, which I love.
Yeah, it's a great one. Like, we watch stories constantly about people in fantastical situations who have to overcome these different scenarios and complications and like win the day. But most of us are not space heroes. Most of us are not fighting demons or even Ninja Turtles. A lot of us have a job at the Quick Stop. A lot of us go to school. Like, it's just normal life. But there's still something to our story, or at least there could be, right?
You want something.
Yeah.
I looked up 9 quotes.
Okay.
And for those of you who are new to Enneagram, there are 9 types, and each of these quotes is meant to represent the heart, a motive of a type, of an Enneagram type. And so, starting, you will have seen The Black Swan.
I love Black Swan so much.
I just want to be perfect. This expresses desire,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of passion,
Yep.
a lot of drive.
Yep.
And if you have seen Black Swan, you may see how that drive can go well and go badly.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes you go crazy.
Quote number 2. I want you to love me the way I love you. This is from Academy Award-winning film Moonlight, 2016.
Is this the one that got her Oscar? Didn't she have an Oscar?
This was from Moonlight. It was
No, I'm thinking of Moonstruck.
it always comes back to Cher for
It does. I love Cher.
Just those first 2 quotes of the drive to be perfect, and then a different kind of drive to connect all over the language.
And to like, I love the specificity of, I want to be loved the way I love you.
We're going to talk quite a bit about 2s here in a second.
That's true. We really are.
Quote for 3s. I want the fairy tale from Pretty Woman. Normally, in fairy tales, there is a romantic coupling.
Mm-hmm.
Coupling made by the wrong word. Is that
yeah. Most fairy tales involve some sort of, our understanding of most fairy tales in 2025 it involves some sort of, prince and or princess who
There's a kiss at
is
the
going to
end.
be saved by their true love.
That's it.
Right. Yeah.
You want the fairy tale.
Yeah.
This is also about connection, but it's also about something a little bit more.
Yep.
Has to have some splash, some wrinkles,
some bigness, some grandness to it.
some beauty, something. It's got to be worth telling. That's what a fairy tale
There you
is. Another Academy Award-winning film. I don't want to survive. I want to live. And this comes from 12 Years a Slave. I like this as a quote for 4s.
Yeah.
That there is a quality of
Mhm.
life understood.
And that includes the good and the bad.
Quote for 5s comes from A Few Good Men, which should have won an Oscar. And of course, you will hear in your head Tom Cruise yelling, I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Pursuit of this thing. Elusive.
Whatever the truth is, that's what I want.
But there's passion there.
Yep.
6. This is a great 6 quote from Fight Club. I don't want to die without any scars.
Which, like, if you know that 6 are sort of billed as the fear type, may sound out of place. But I also think that it's like, I want to have evidence that I have lived.
Passion for life.
Yeah. And scars means you got through it.
Scars does mean you got through it.
Yeah.
Famous quote. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. This, by the way, said by a young man standing over the dead bodies of his aunt and uncle
Mm-hmm.
who have just been killed by a galactic empire. I need to transition and chase something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where am I going to go?
Yeah. Having literally just learned that his father was a Jedi, he's like, nope, that's the path for me.
That's it.
Yeah.
A quote for 7s. This next quote is great for 8s. It's the opening line from Goodfellas. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be in a movie about gangsters.
It's slightly different.
and attached to things that give me strength and let me use my strength.
That's what it is. It's about strength. It's about camaraderie. It's about being a part of a group that is strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everyone knows their place and what their role
Yeah.
is. And
This is actually my favorite of the quotes. It's from Rocky. This scene almost didn't make it into Rocky. Sylvester Stallone had to beg the director for 1 hour. I just need 1 hour to shoot this one scene, and the director was like, it kind of slows things down. And Stallone was like, it's the heart of the movie.
that's the whole point.
It's the whole point of the movie.
For everyone out there who's like, Rocky's just a movie about a boxer. Who cares? This line is the point of the movie.
He's exposing his heart. All I want is to go the distance. No one's ever gone the distance with Creed. And if I can go that distance, you see, and that bell rings and I'm still standing, I'm gonna know for the first time in my life that I weren't just another bum for the neighborhood. If we pay for it, we should just pay the rights to put that in. I mean, I'm sure Stallone won't mind if maybe we just clip it. Do people check audiobooks?
It'll be fine. I mean, I suppose there are people out there who do stand to lose money from our $15 a book issue.
Apparently, what was it? Sting sang "I Want My MTV" on that Dire Straits song.
Mm-hmm.
Got all of the money for that song. That was like Dire Straits' only hit. I might be making things up there, but I think I heard that. That's the intro to the first 3 questions. So we start with our first chapter. Question 1. What do I want most? Whether it's Samwise picking up Frodo so they can destroy the One Ring, or Walter White embracing the most violent path available so that he can feel alive, or whether it's Han Solo returning to rescue his friend, or Michael Corleone ordering the death of his brother, desire fuels every story. Sorry for the spoilers there, those of you who haven't seen
seriously.
Star Wars or Godfather 2. The desires of our favorite characters aren't always just or sensible. Desire doesn't always lead to happily ever after. But our journey, whether to save the world or to destroy oneself, always begins with what we want. Because without desire, nothing happens. And this is true for you and me. Behind all our desires and actions is a core motive that has real power, that becomes our starting point for decisions big and small. And once it's named, we can ask, where are my deepest yearnings actually taking me? Our primary underlying motive, and I want you to get that word in your head, motive. Our primary underlying motive, the motivation that defines our Enneagram type, not only fuels how we engage the world, but also filters everything we see as important and worthy of our attention. Depending on our type, the target of our motive is either to feel seen for 2s, 3s, and 4s, to feel secure for 5s, 6s, and 7s, or to be in control for 8s, 9s, and 1s. And each type wants that target more than anything else. So pause for a second. Dear reader, these motives in Enneagram speak are referred to by numbers. And as we elevate the numbers, look for your glasses, look for your motive in language that seems to be saying what you would say naturally about yourself.
And this is it's the first starting point, obviously, but this is the thing that sort of sets the pavement for the rest of the journey. Like you have to pay attention to these underlying motives. You have to figure out what it is that you want. And you have to recognize how some of your decisions may not actually be getting you to what you want, or you may be aiming at something that's not really like quite what you actually want, but the way you're going about it does inform what you want. I want things to be calm, serene, holistic. Like I want things to be natural and movement, but sometimes I go about that in ways that actually causes problems in my life. We all need to recognize the ways that we're trying to get what we want with methods that aren't working.
We're going to talk a lot about this. The upside of your Enneagram type, the downside of your Enneagram type. Not just in this book. This will be a conversation that will be had for many books
Yep.
to come. So, TJ, tell me what about these types.
We might say it this way. 2s, 3s, and 4s all believe in their deepest self. When I am seen, then I will be happy. 5s, 6s, and 7s all believe in their deepest self. When I feel secure, then I will be happy. 8s, 9s, and 1s all believe in their deepest self. When I have oversight of my spaces and myself, then I will be happy. It may be the case that you want all of these things, but one of them actually drives your decision making, drives your movement, the way that you see the world. One of these things aligns more than the other two, and that's where you want to focus.
Big idea. All human beings everywhere want happiness. All of our decisions are aimed at happiness, whether it is, as we said, kind of like seeking to rescue a friend in peril or ordering the death of your brother. All of these characters, they're aiming at, they think that this is what will eventually make them happy. Enneagram names the motive that's associated with that. That's why it's core. That's why it's worth studying. And that's why we're jumping into this book.
Yep.
So, first subtitle here is Our Motive. What do you want most? I'm going to repeat myself. What we want is happiness, but that means different things to different people. Enneagram shows us why. We all aim at happiness, but given our type, we acquire a taste for specific fulfillments. We each believe if I acquire and enjoy my target, be it love or wisdom or excellence or joy, then I will have what I want most. My world is going to be as it should be, and then I'll be happy. This belief can lead both to our best self and our worst self. And more than this, our motive is unavoidable. Even if I want nothing, that itself is a want. Every time you and I act, every time we voluntarily move, we are fueled by some underlying motive that targets some specific good that we think is worth our energy. So at its best, Enneagram invites us to name what we target, to name how that motive colors our beliefs and how we receive the world, and to name the interior influences on all that we are and all that we are becoming. This is the work of the Enneagram.
To gain attention and to feel seen, 2s want to be needed. 3s want to excel. 4s want to feel significant.
Big idea, just to highlight it for a second, because you can kind of see it on the page. You might not be able to hear it. There is a clear motive of gaining something, and the happiness here is associated with attention. And these types, 2s, 3s, 4s, they experience that through wanting to be needed, wanting to excel, wanting to feel significant. That's how they're gaining the attention that they crave.
It's all about other people's eyes. To gain predictability and feel secure, 5s want to understand. 6s want assurances and certainty. 7s want opportunity.
Predictability. This is a huge thing for a lot of people in terms of how they feel secure in the world. And again, notice how there's these targets. I want to understand, assurances, opportunities. These are going to provide that predictability and security I want.
Yeah, these types, there's a sense of gathering the resources to help them feel prepared, to be ready for any situation, to be safe and secure. And it has less to do with other people. It doesn't have as much to do with that sort of like being seen. It's about having the things that they need to feel prepared for the situations they're going into. And to gain autonomy and feel in control, 8s want to be unobstructed. 9s want everything to be harmonious. 1s want to be good and do what's right.
Again, different kind of desire there, being named and expressed. Autonomy is way different than wanting to be secure. Those can kind of overlap, but they're different.
Yeah.
We'll spend a lot of time saying why.
Of course, we all want these ends to some degree, but one of them influences who we are and what we do more than all the others. And this defines our type.
All right, so we're going to unpack these. We're going to start with those types that seek happiness through attention. These are 2s, 3s, and 4s. I love this section. we're going to talk about, like, if you just condense as much as you can, what's this type about in terms of their motive? This is what we're talking about. So with 2s, seeking happiness through attention. 2s need to feel needed. They understand their place in the world through how others receive and show appreciation for their care. More than merely being loved, 2s want acknowledgement. They want to feel connected to others as evidenced by a glad reception to what the 2 gives. For 2s, this giving serves as both a bridge and a compass. 2s attune themselves to the actions and emotions of others, and they instinctively read the room. And when they engage, they do so through service, positioning themselves as indispensable. And their attention moves outward. It's like scanning for relational cues. And every act of generosity that they're going to offer functions like kind of radar pings, and they're measuring how much others desire their presence. And here's the kicker: when others love the 2 in return, when they are satisfying their emotional needs and their ache for inclusion, then the 2 believes they will be happy.
Yeah, if a tree falls in a forest but nobody hears it, does it actually make a sound, right? If a 2 does your dishes and nobody says thanks for doing the dishes, did it matter? Did they actually do the dishes? Who cares? This is a similar way of thinking about how 2s are looking to be loved. They're gonna offer you, they're gonna give you something and want it to be acknowledged, reciprocated. They want to know that you're in their corner because they're in yours.
I don't know that it's going to work its way into these descriptions, but the idea of mirroring is going to be all over the 2s, 3s, and 4s in terms of looking for their value by asking others, do I have value? And that's how it's shown for the 2. For the 3s, 3s want to know, and they want others to know that they have value. To establish their worth, they often elevate goals and public achievements, these accomplishments that hold weight both in their own eyes and in the eyes of others. 3s want to be seen as successful, of course, but more than this, they want to avoid the stench of failure. 3s have a clear memory of past disappointments, and they push hard to avoid that feeling in the future by setting themselves up to win. And in winning, 3s take hold of attention. And as such, 3s are going to image craft. They plan their lives wanting to know who they need to become to get the best reaction. Though they can fashion a desirable appearance, it isn't all show. 3s aim for genuinely praiseworthy accomplishments, something that they can feel proud of and that others are going to admire. They don't want to be exposed or seen as a fraud, so they tune into their culture. They note what other people value, and then they position themselves to succeed. And here's the kicker: when they garner this kind of attention and they feel both successful and admired, then the 3 believes they will be happy.
Yeah, there's a sense of like becoming the best at something so that people will recognize that you're the best. You know, it doesn't necessarily always mean that they are the best. Sometimes they're promoted to a manager position because they're the ones who have been there the longest. But they still want to be recognized as someone worthy of that title, as someone worthy of the thing, whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. They are worthy of that recognition. They want to feel that way. You know, and we'll get into it. Part of that has to do with them feeling like they're not worthy in their inner core. So they work really hard to present as worthy of it so that you will love them.
We've started with just 2 types, 2s and 3s, both of them seeking attention. And you know these people, or you are one of these sorts of folks. One is seeking attention through that service, through that other focused, what can I do for you kind of energy. And that other type is looking to get attention in a very different way, a way that doesn't necessarily need to care about your feelings. They just want you to turn your eyes to them when they are succeeding, when they're on stage, when they're doing the thing they're the best in the world at. 2 different ways of getting attention, The motive is the same. I want attention, but they're executing that differently. That's what defines the type. And then there's another type who also wants attention, and these would be 4s. 4s take their inner life seriously. They possess a strong sense of their own essence and present as deeply introspective people, attuned first to their feelings and then to the complexities of human experience. 4s have a close connection to their emotional core, so much so that their connection to the world seems secondary and more difficult to enjoy. There's a melancholic idealism in most 4s. There's this like sadness that's rooted in 2 tensions. First is the frustration that others don't seem to feel the world with the same kind of emotional depth that they do. And the second is the uncertainty of their own place in a society that doesn't appear to value them. Their self-awareness often takes shape in contrast to others, deepening their sense of both self-insight and isolation. As such, 4s often strive to offer something wholly unique, something no one else could, so they may feel and see themselves as irreplaceable. And beneath this drive lies a deep longing for significance. And by remaining faithful to what's true, 4s hope to find the validation they seek, both from within and ideally from others who can see them and understand. And when they feel like they have expressed their fullest self, finding the significance they know is there, then the 4 believes they will be happy.
We haven't used a word yet with these 3 types that I think is most prominent in 4s, and that's comparison. When your sense of yourself is about being seen by other people, you also spend a lot of time comparing yourself to other people. And 4s do this the most, but in large measure, it has to do with what the 4 is missing, or what is it about the 4 that makes them different from everyone else. And so you have the 2s who want to be of service to get love, the 3s who want to be praiseworthy, and then the 4s who want to be an individual, who want to be recognized as not necessarily standing out, but recognized for their own existing individuality.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes that attention isn't always just from others. It's also the attention you give yourself. This wasn't said for 3s, but 3s likewise have that sense of they need to give themselves a little attention as well. Bang. We are going to talk about comparison when we get to chapter 2, which is going to be on the heart triad.
Great. And with all 3 of these types, we see very clearly that their understanding of themselves, the way they see the world, like the desire to be seen, to be related to in some way, is fundamental. All of the things that we've said so far are driven by that need to, that want for attention, for some other person's eyeballs to see me and to recognize me in some way.
Bang. Move to the next set of 3. This is 5s, 6s, and 7s. These are the types that seek happiness through predictable security. And we're going to start with 5s. The 5s want to understand. They have a radar for the topics that are most essential, and they invest heavily in understanding. For the sake of their well-being, 5s often express having limited energy. They don't suffer fools. They move away from both intrusions and incompetence. 5s employ their energy toward what is valuable, believing when they have all the most essential knowledge, then they can act with some confidence in the world. So answers are about preparation. 5s want to understand what is deficient and what is trustworthy. Wisdom and its fruit are going to provide the grounding 5s seek and give them some inner leverage for action. More than accomplishments, 5s want stability. The unknown is both a motivator and it's a real terror. To position themselves for the future, 5s are going to accumulate insights and assets. 5s don't like being examined, but they find comfort in being an unattached observer of the world. This separation between themselves and others wanting to keep their private lives private. This keeps fives at a safe distance and their energy reserves intact. And here's the kicker: when they acquire all of the understanding and resources necessary to feel capable of dealing with a dangerous world, then the five believes they will be happy.
You know how some people just want to jump into the game and figure it out as they go? Fives are not those people. Fives want to read all of the instructions to make sure they know how to play the game first. And that is true for all things in life. If I can just make sure I understand how this works, how it's all supposed to fit together, then I'm going to be safe.
Not fire, ready, aim sorts.
Yeah, absolutely not.
More the ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim.
Mm-hmm.
I might fire.
Yeah.
Sorts.
Yeah. If conditions are right.
Conditions are right, the firing will commence.
Yeah.
Seeking happiness through predictability, through security is the five. We are going to see as we move to the sixes, again, same target, different way that this gets expressed. Sixes want reliability and guarantees, and yet they struggle to trust them when they're present. That is, when the reliability and guarantees are present. This paradox is at the heart of the sixes' experience, seeking certainty in an uncertain world while simultaneously doubting the very structures they hope will provide it. So sixes' desire for security often leads them to distrust the very safety they have. They want assurances, and yet doubt such assurances can be fully had. And this contradiction underscores the struggle many sixes face. They are searching for guarantees while doubting that guarantees actually exist. And they're living in this uncertainty. Sixes are going to oscillate then between loyalty and rebellion. They are fully trusting in one moment and utterly scrutinizing every decision in the next. So to overcome their inability to trust, sixes invest their best energy in the welfare of other people. They are establishing themselves as dependable and worthy of regard. And in these spaces, sixes may verbally process their anxiety to others. They would be like longing to find insights into the future, even though they know absolute certainty isn't possible. Sixes can't help asking for it. This is a defining characteristic of sixes, the need to prepare, to anticipate threats, and to secure a foundation that feels unshakable, knowing that the world is anything but. And like the other types, notice when they have every element of their lives dissected and have shored up all the necessary support for the hazard-fraught future that lies ahead of them, then the six believes, I'll be happy.
Where the five wants information, the six wants support. They want to be able to trust, to know that it's not necessarily about gathering all of that information. It's gathering all of the assurances. It's gathering that ability to say, yes, this thing is going to work. And they face an incredibly uncertain world. And all of that untrust, it starts in themselves. So obviously it's going to creep out to everyone else as well. It's aligning yourself with some type of authority and then constantly checking to make sure that authority is worth trusting. This sense of predictability, of preparedness, it comes from knowing that you have the resources to move forward.
Again, notice the target. Predictability, security, fives get it in one way, sixes in another. This is what defines the types. This is what we're walking through, especially if you're new to Enneagram. Notice this, that sometimes you can want identical things to the person next to you and yet try and get those things with very different tools, very different ways of getting things. Naming that's incredibly helpful, which brings us to sevens, who want the same thing as fives and sixes and yet go about getting it in a different way. Sevens are going to fill their thoughts with good things, with opportunities, with what's coming next, with all that has energy and is exciting. Sevens not only want to be happy, but they want everyone around them to be happy. Sevens don't always know what they want, but they certainly know what they don't want. They are generally flexible, but will avoid irksome experiences in order to sidestep pain and negativity, because who wants pain and negativity, TJ? I ask.
No one, right?
Sevens are going to turn their mind toward the future and they're going to envision all the potential paths. Much of the world is understood in this way. It's through this idealistic, hope-tinged filter. And as such, sevens will focus on creating delightful moments, especially in the world ahead. And here's the kicker: when they feel like they have that in their mind, when they feel satisfied in that space, far removed from all the negativity, then the seven's going to believe, I'll be happy.
I mean, this grass is probably pretty good, right? But maybe there's gooder grass on the other side.
They are the gooder grass types.
Yeah, like there's always something that might be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. Whatever could be coming, that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm thinking about.
Because it's not necessarily about the experience. It's about where your mind is.
Mm-hmm. It's about the possibilities.
And that's where the happiness lies, is a very mental. So security, as it were, predictability, as it were,
Mm-hmm.
is fashioning that in a mental space.
Yeah. Fives want understanding and competency. Sixes want assurances and trust. Sevens want opportunity. They want to make sure that the door is never closed in case they need to go through it.
Fives, it's kind of like, what do I know? Sixes, it's who do I know who's going to care about me? And sevens, as I said, like what is the thing that's out there that I know I can jump to? Last set of three is 8s, 9s, and 1s. Half of you who are new to Enneagram are going, why didn't you start with the 1s? This was strange. You started with the 2. Did my audiobook fail me? No. Enneagram is just like this sometimes.
Yep. There's no the value placed on the numbers is not numerical value.
It's a circle.
It's a circle.
Look at the title of the book.
Yep.
So we started with the 2s, and we're going to end with the 1s. And after 5 years of studying this stuff, 1, you're going to be an enriched, happier human being, and 2, you're going to get why we started with the 2s. This last group seeks happiness through autonomy or agency. We'll start with the 8s here. 8s are going to stand independent from the world, and they're going to use their anger as a stick to push away unwelcome advances. Though 8s look like they want control, the truth is they don't want to be controlled. They don't need to be in charge, but they certainly won't be bossed around. Looking to establish barriers and stand apart, 8s will hit the world if it intrudes too far in order to gain oversight over themselves and over their spaces. At their core, what 8s want is agency. They have a radar for justice, and they believe that when the world is fair, they are less likely to get hurt. They likewise see immediately how others exhibit strength and weakness. 8s resist being pushed around, and they insist on fairness, both for themselves and for the weak, for the people who may not have what it takes, that they are going to kind of naturally defend. And again, the kicker: when they exercise full autonomy, not having to rely on anyone else, nor feeling that their will is opposed, and they're charting their own course, and they're maintaining their self-reliance, then the 8 believes, now I can be happy.
And does this mean that the 8 can't have a boss? No, it doesn't mean that. It means the 8 can't have a boss that they don't trust. It means the 8 can't be told what to do by someone they don't want to listen to. There is a sense of being able to enact my will in the world. And so long as I can do that within the structures that surround me, 8's golden.
Yep.
If there is any opposition to their sense of what they should be doing, they will be pushing against that opposition. And they don't understand other people who don't push.
Yeah.
This is their fullest understanding of themselves in the world. And the rest of us who don't automatically try to change our lives when it needs to be changed, 8s don't understand it, because that's fundamentally how they see the world.
Yeah, even when in situations where they have a boss, they're normally the boss.
Yeah.
In that organization.
Yeah.
The bossing gets outsourced to the 8. Autonomy, agency. There's a lot of spatial components, and there's a lot of, am I in control of myself going on here? And 8s try to get that a certain way in the world. 9s are going to want the identical thing. They're going to try and get through different means. So nines intuitively invest so much in internalizing how others see the world, they often fail to take on a perspective of their own. So, like naming what they want can be very challenging because they are deeply invested in maintaining stability, especially with others. Nines are going to seek the path of least resistance, one that is clear and effortless. Their core desire for connection and harmony compels them to invest their best energy in blending, in carefully considering their place and positioning themselves to neither obstruct nor to be obstructed. And above all, nines want an experience of the world that is free of conflict and working in unison. And as such, nines often display great fondness for nature and for all those elements of the world that provide, like this meditative, harmonious experience and give them internal clarity without requiring a lot of them. And again, the kicker, when opposition disappears and the people in their lives enjoy like a harmony and a total connectedness together, then the nine believes that they will be happy.
I had too many. I didn't pick one.
It's just driving home for you is what it is.
It's true. Yeah, I'm reading my own mail. I feel like that is something that is pretty important. To me, it is important to note that I identify with nines, and that has a lot to do with how I present material, and I cannot get away from my own stamp on all of the material that we've worked on so far. And
Right?
there is a clear sense of understanding how other people see things that exists within nines. And we want everyone to work in harmony. If you do what you're supposed to do and I do what I'm supposed to do, then we'll never, there doesn't have to be conflict. There doesn't have to be traffic jams if people just did what they were supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. Like that's
the subway?
The world should work easier if we were all just staying in our own lanes.
There it is. Stay in your own lane.
Stay in your own lane, man.
Why do we have to fight?
Yeah, you could be going faster than me. I don't care. Just stay in your own lane.
We could be bombing one another, or we could be eating peanut M&Ms together.
It's
I
true.
know which one I think is better.
Peanut M&Ms, way better.
No, it is one of the great goods meta level here that TJ is going to bring to this whole study is the ability to see how other people are seeing the world and putting language to that. Whether or not TJ wants to write this book in the first place, that's secondary. But the ability to write the book, golden.
Yeah, I understand. I have the thoughts. We could figure out a way to dictate thoughts and me not have to actually do the work.
Seeking autonomy and agency, very different from eights. Same target, very different ways of getting it. Worth naming. Eights might also say stay in your own lane, but they would do so with a lot of profanities, and they might run into the other guy's bumper to ensure that the other lane gets stayed in.
Yeah.
Nines, probably not.
I'll just say it angrily from inside my own car. Oh, just stay in your own lane. God.
Hold it together. Lastly is ones. Ones have a deep desire to be free of corruption and defect. They are aware of the criticisms coming from others, for criticisms from outside compound the high criticisms they already have of themselves. Ones respond to this criticism by taking charge of their spaces and insisting on standards. They want to feel as though they have done the right thing and have stood above reproach and can be seen by some as perfectionistic. Underlying this, ones want to be good and spill that goodness into the broader world. They want to act appropriately and have their inner life free from obstacles. Ones are the first to see the world as disordered and are often hyper aware of their own shortcomings. And above all, when their radar goes off, ones are spurred to act right now to improve themselves and all the messes in their purview. And here's the kicker: when they act well, moving what they see as flawed toward improvement, working for what's truly good, performing their role without mistakes, then the one thinks, this is where I'm going to be happy. TJ's a 9, I'm a 1. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, there's a sense of moving things toward some kind of better. There's all three of these types, we notice that there's a sense of what is right, what is good, what is just, what is fair, and moving toward that is the arc that the one wants to follow. And so long as we're moving in that direction, then that is where my happiness lies. If we're stuck in our faults, in our incompleteness, then what are we even doing with our lives? Happiness is in pursuing the better, the more whole, the cleaner, the faster, the stronger, all of the things that could be better on the other end. That may mean physical spaces. That may mean my own internal heart. That may mean my physical body. It means a lot of different things. It's always moving toward the better. This is where I find my own autonomy.
Yep. Yeah, better can be moral. Better can be better constructed, functions better, works better. Better can mean more beautiful, more aesthetically pleasing, all sorts of senses of better, but that is the target. And those are the 9 types, and they're how they seek happiness. We haven't talked about the triads yet, which we'll get to, but notice just a last word on happiness. Moving to the last section, our target and happiness. One should note, these portrayals of our type do not prescribe a path. We're not saying, here's the road to happiness, just jump on board. Many of the most wise say how we walk in the world matters far more than where we're headed. No path actually leads to happiness because happiness is the path. There's a severe mistake that lies in believing that some object, some emotion, some achievement is going to bring me the happiness that I want without first considering who we are. Happiness doesn't come from acquiring all of these targets, safety, attention, control, etc. Happiness requires that we become the kind of person who can be happy. One writer observed, we can't see God face to face until we have faces. So too, you cannot be happy until you become the kind of person who can receive and delight in happiness itself.
Yeah, that road to happiness is like you're already on that road. We're not offering it to you. It's you're already on this path, and we're helping you identify which road you're on and to recognize that like the road you're on does not lead to that happiness.
As a total footnote, there are tons of people in our culture who openly mock and despise things that actually make human beings happy and see them as disgusting, like and see them as worth casting away for totally irrelevant trash that won't make them happy.
Right.
Because they don't know how to be happy.
Right.
And this is the problem.
Yep.
So when reflecting on Enneagram, we often jump to typing to saying this is how each type seeks happiness. But we have to set that aside for a second for a more essential step. And that is happiness depends more on understanding who we are than on acquiring anything that we're trying to pursue. I'm going to say that one more time. Happiness depends more on understanding who you are than on acquiring anything that you're pursuing. Notice this, few self-aware, self-actualized people live in misery. Yet there are countless individuals who have secured the attention, the security, the autonomy, the control that they have always wanted, and yet they are depressed and hopeless. What Enneagram does is it names our motive. And at this moment, it needs to be said that our motive can often misguide us. It can lead us down terrible roads. We may honestly want what will actually make us miserable. And so the question, where is happiness? Where are you going to find happiness? And that's what this book series is going to expose. It's actually where we're going to end. The whole 5th book is going to be about happiness. So coming in 5 years. But here's a teaser. Where's happiness found? It's found in self-awareness. It's found in wisdom. It's found in honesty. It's found in faithfulness to myself and to others. It's found in moderation and courage. These are character traits that always lead to happiness.
Are you saying that money doesn't buy happiness? Money's not on this list.
I think I left it off intentionally.
I've been thinking about money can buy security. It can buy peace. It can buy
attention.
some amount of autonomy. It can buy some attention, but your goal is askew if you think that money is actually going to get you the happiness that you're desiring. It may be able to buy you all of those things, but if you can't actually be happy, then those things don't matter.
That's it. If you can't be happy, that's the thing. I had a long conversation with a dude about the founder of a very large company who's a billionaire. This guy was doing work on his house. And he was describing the security measures this gentleman has and how many assault rifles he has in his basement and how big his safe room is and just all the things. You're just like, this man needs counseling. Yeah. He does not need a bigger safe room. The happiness will be elusive. You think that security is going to get it for you, but
as it turns out, technology just begets more technology. The more secure you make yourself, the more you're aware of all of the ways that you aren't secure.
The Enneagram names our raw material. It's going to name what is lying underneath and coloring everything that we want. But what happiness requires virtue. It requires us to do work on our inner life. Happiness is going to require us to see what is actually good for us and to become the kinds of people who habitually do what is required to take hold of it, to become the kinds of people who actually want real happiness. So does that mean that Enneagram is then irrelevant? Of course not. We cannot change our motive. We can only ask, given my motive, am I becoming a healthier, more balanced, more thoughtful, more courageous person? This is the target, naming the high side of our motive. Our Enneagram type, at its best and most flourishing, is then committing to the work required to make that our habitual self. So, what does that look like? How do I see and name my healthiest self? Hey, guess what?
What?
That's what this book's about.
Heyo. Okay, I want to address a term. It's something that is in here that we're going to talk a lot about, which is high side.
Yeah.
Health.
Yeah.
So this is going to come up all the time within this whole thing because this is a central part of what we believe about the Enneagram, that there's high side or healthy versions of all of the things that we're talking about, and there's low side, unhealthy versions of everything that we're talking about. We could go through this whole list of motive and talk about the healthy version of this and the unhealthy version of this. And I hope that you have understood like a little bit of that as you're listening to it and like hearing about the people in your life that want security but go about getting it by putting in more security cameras, and like that there's a way to express your whole motive that is good and healthy and right and moving forward. And there's a way that is going to be insular, that is going to be isolating and selfish and not actually moving you into a more healthy, prosperous version of yourself.
You're glad you bought the audiobook, kids, because this is another teaser. Our entire second book could, in essence, be called High Side, Low Side. It won't be, but we're going to spend a lot of time on that. But we're going to see it all over the ways that we talk about the types as we set them up. So this is our first chapter. Our full audiobook, all 10 hours, is available right now for members at aroundthecircle.org, as well as all our full interviews. I'll probably only say this once, but the print version of this book came out much better than we expected. There are around 180 graphics. We structure the book around 9 questions. Who are you? What do you want? How do you solve problems? How do you connect with others? Why do you feel out of balance? What are your strengths? Given your type, what are your biggest challenges? And perhaps most unique in this book, we have an 80-page section in the appendix, all new material devoted to helping you help others find their Enneagram type. This is only in the print version, so do take a look. Links are in the show notes. Lastly, big thank you to those of you who have already bought the book. We debuted as the #1 new release on Amazon for personality studies, and that made us #7 Enneagram book in the world. So very grateful to those of you who have supported us. Cheering for you all as always, and may all good things be yours.